Hello, my beautiful movie peeps. Thank you for clicking on an episode of Side Flick. I've got a bunch of movie news right here off to the side, and I want to share it with you. Some of the things we're going to be discussing here today, guys, is Disney just let us know of a bunch of delays and release date changes to their upcoming Marvel movies, Star Wars movies, Avatar movies, really all their movies. We also got an update here on the Leprechaun reboot. I have to discuss that. And we even got some minor updates from Tom Holland about Spider-Man 4. Really, that along with so much more, timestamps will be in the description because we got a lot of topics here, so if you want to skip around or get to one first, just go ahead, man. I'm not going to blame you. In fact, I'd use it for this first story because it's something I really don't even want to discuss here, but a lot of you have been wanting my opinion on the Tenoch Huerta situation. All right, like I said, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but you probably have heard by now the actor who plays Namor in Black Panther Wakanda Forever has been accused of sexual assault. And just like when the Jonathan Majors situation broke out, I feel like there was just too little information to make an opinion on. All we have right now is a woman accusing him of doing this and him replying with, no, this is false and not true. And clearly, as someone who's just reading the news, I have no idea who to believe right now. So all I'll tell you is, if it's true, extremely disappointed, man. I love this actor in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I thought it was also great representation for my Mexican people. Not to mention, I definitely believe the woman should get justice if this is true, but also, if it's false, I hope it doesn't completely damage his career and he can continue on as Namor. But really, other than the victims who are the most hurt from these situations, it sucks that this is something we have to discuss as movie fans because they could affect the movies we eventually watch. And from Ezra Miller, Jonathan Majors, Tenoch Huerta, it's like, I hate discussing this stuff. But I knew if I didn't at least bring up or talk about it, I'd get those comments saying, oh, you'd talk about the Jonathan Majors situation, huh? I wonder why. I'm like, God, I just want to love movies, man. So really, in the end, it's just a waiting game to find out more information or what the courts decide, and that's most likely when the studios will make a decision too. Okay, now finally moving on to just being movie fans and enjoying things, let's talk about the new Pixar trailer. So of course, when Disney has like a big shocking announcement of delaying their entire movies, they gotta release other stuff to kind of hide a little bit of that. And we have here the trailer for Elio. This is gonna be the Pixar movie where it follows a kid who is mistaken as the leader of Earth and is taken to this planet of aliens where they're all the different leaders of different planets. And look, there's a lot to discuss here because one, I feel like Pixar has been losing its stride. I don't even mean in terms of quality, I just mean in terms of how the public used to get excited for a Pixar film. There would come a day where a new Pixar movie would come out and people would go crazy. Now that's kind of gone really silent and a lot of Pixar movies underperform at the box office. I'll also say, in my personal opinion, a Pixar trailer never really does the movie justice. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a trailer for a new Pixar movie and I say to myself, doesn't look that interesting, but I'll watch it for Pixar. I go see the movie and it's always fantastic. And in a weird way, I kind of feel the same way about this trailer. It looks a little simplistic, it looks fun, I like the vibrancy of the animation, the idea seems a little interesting, but nothing in this trailer like pulled me or wowed me to go, oh, Pixar's gonna blow it out of the water. I was just kind of, yeah, I'll give it a shot. And I know when I finally watch the movie, it'll probably have such a beautiful, profound, heartwarming story. I'll come out crying going, I love that movie. That was amazing. That's at least the pattern that's followed with Pixar for me. So with that all being said, I'm gonna give this one a treasure for now, but also curious to hear from you guys. Do you feel the same when you watch Pixar trailers, or do they just immediately hook you in every time? And I guess since we were just talking about animation, let's move on to a little update that we got with Warner Brothers in their animation division. Deadline here posted an article about how Warner Brothers is trying to revamp their animation department. They've even gone ahead and changed the name of the division from Warner Animation Group to Warner Brothers Picture Animation. And look, Warner Brothers, ever since they got with Discovery, has gotten a lot of criticisms for canceling a lot of upcoming animated projects, cartoon shows, movies, and even selling them to other streaming services. But I feel like a lot of that is recently changing for them, and they're going, no, we need a good animation division, because look at Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That is critically successful and financially successful. You look at Universal and the Super Mario movies. That's $1 billion movie that they came out with, obviously because it's Mario, but for the most part, people also enjoy that movie. I feel like things like that let Warner Brothers go, we kind of need to focus in on, because there's money to be made here. Even Disney is struggling right now with trying to come out with good animated movies. Well, not even just good ones, but ones that people will actually go to pay money for in the theater. They do mention in this article some of the upcoming movies that they have planned here. Like for one, they mention a Flintstones movie called Meet the Flintstones. This is said to be like an origin story for the Flintstone characters. I don't know if that would get a lot of kids nowadays hyped. It would get me excited excited. I remember watching the Flintstones as a kid, and that live action movie I thought was pretty fun. A 3D animated movie of that could maybe appeal to kids. If anything, it's just good rebrand awareness, because I feel like there's a generation of kids that have no idea what Flintstones are other than like the cereal down the aisle. So it would just be good to kind of bring that back up and keep that brand alive. They also mentioned they're going to continue here with their 2018 partnership of Dr. Seuss properties with a Cat in the Hat movie. Previously, it was Universal and Illumination that were making Dr. Seuss animated movies with The Lorax and The Grinch, both of them being okay. I thought they were fine. But now Warner Brothers has those properties and they're going to come out with an animated Cat in the Hat movie. I'm like, I love that live action Cat in the Hat movie with Michael Myers. That movie has me dying. I don't know how an animated film could ever top that, but I'd be curious to check it out. Really, if anything, I wish they would put a little bit more focus on their Looney Tune characters, because I know they have that upcoming Coyote vs. Acme movie, which they do say is still happening, and it looks like it won't be released till next year, which makes me a little sad. But still, Warner Brothers trying to up their animation game. Based on all the properties they own, what do you think would make a good animated movie that could compete with like Spider-Verse and Mario? Moving on here to something that got me super excited, but probably not a lot of people care about. We got an update on the upcoming Leprechaun reboot. Now, you guys know here on the channel, we've talked about there's been rumblings that there's a Leprechaun movie up and coming, and now we basically got the biggest update so far. Here, Bloody Disgusting has it that Lionsgate reviving the Leprechaun franchise with new movie from director Felipe Vargas. Now, this director doesn't have any mainstream notable works. They're most known for directing a short film called Milk Teeth, which is one you could find online. I have to make some time to watch it, which I think could be good. Sometimes like the young, really willing and wanting directors can probably give the most flair to an old franchise. All that they really mentioned is, in the hands of this director, this movie should be scary and a ton of fun. And that's really good to hear, you know, because as a fan of the Leprechaun franchise, I'll be the first to admit it. I know they're not great movies, but boy, are they a lot of fun. Watching those films as a kid, I couldn't get enough of them. And there was a time where the Leprechaun actually truly terrified me. You go back to those first three movies, and there are some really horrific creative kills in there. The Leprechaun is a little brute and menace, man. Don't take his gold. But then, of course, you got to the movies after 4, where he started going to space, in the hood, and it was just dumb fun then without really many scary elements. The article is also quick to mention that Warwick Davis isn't looking to be coming back. That kind of hurts, but it's understandable. I think Warwick Davis really made the Leprechaun who he was. But if you saw the sci-fi movie they came out with, where they also tried rebooting the Leprechaun franchise, someone new took up the helm, and although they weren't as amazing as Warwick Davis, I thought they did a good enough job where I could see maybe them continuing, but they decided not to. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this, and it looks like they're wanting to keep the same tone of those original movies, scary, but having that fun vibe, because at the end of the day, it's a leprechaun running around trying to kill you. But throwing it off to you guys, are you excited or interested in a Leprechaun reboot? Bringing us here to talk a little bit about DC, because we have gotten some updates that I find are interesting from James Gunn. He was recently doing a podcast interview where he gave away a little bit of tidbits about the upcoming DCU. For one, saying this about Blue Beetle.
The first DCU character for sure is Blue Beetle. And the first full DCU movie is Superman.
Which I think are interesting comments to make, because I'm like, well, what about Shazam? What about The Flash? You were really talking those movies up and saying that they could be included in the DCU, but now he's saying technically the first character in the DCU is gonna be Blue Beetle. There was also a new TV spot for Blue Beetle that was floating around. I think it is awesome. But to hear now that he's saying, you know, Blue Beetle is the first DCU character, that makes me happy, man. I know this Blue Beetle movie might just come out feeling a little bit average or okay, like a basic superhero movie. And there's nothing wrong. That movie was originally meant to just be a straight to streaming movie, okay? It was gonna have some limitations. But the fact that James Gunn is already willing to be like, you know what? We're going to pull him in here, and when we give him a sequel, oh, you can bet we're going to go hard. The only other detail that we got here is that James Gunn did confirm that after Superman Legacy, he's going to jump right back into Peacemaker, so it looks like John Cena is staying in the new DCU, which was to be expected. So yeah, just some interesting little updates in the DCU. How do you guys feel about these? All right, moving on here to Disney, because they just revealed a whole bunch of release date changes for their upcoming Marvel movies. Now, getting into it here, I do want to say there's not an exact reasoning for why they did this, but I feel like it is the writer's strike that caused a bunch of these delays. They don't want to rush these movies into production or having them start filming with like half a finished script. Getting some basic ones out of the way. For one, they confirmed the live action Moana movie will now be releasing June 27th, 2025. That is also the same year the live action How to Train Your Dragon movie is going to be coming out, so that'll be interesting to see. I was very happy to hear that they have confirmed that the Alien movie by Fed Alvarez is going to get a theatrical release for August 16th, 2024. Super looking forward to that, and I'm glad it's not being dumped on Hulu like Prey was. But okay, getting into the Marvel movies, we have Captain America 4 that is being moved 3 months to July 26, 2024. We have the Thunderbolts that is being pushed 5 months to December 20th, 2024. Then you have Blade moving 5 months to February 14th, 2025. You have the Fantastic Four that goes back 3 months to May 2nd, 2025. And one of the only good news here, Deadpool 3 moves up to May 3rd, 2024, while Avengers Kang Dynasty goes to May 2026 and Avengers Secret Wars to May 2027. Okay, let's talk a little bit about those Marvel release dates here. For one, it's almost like a domino effect. If you have to delay this one movie, it's going to push all the other ones back. The one that makes me the most sad right now is really just Fantastic Four, because it's like the more you delay that movie, the more you're delaying the knowledge of who are your cast members. Who are the Fantastic Four? But then you look at like Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, man. 4-year wait for Secret Wars. 2027 sounds a lot farther than it is, okay? It's only a 4-year wait. I don't think it's that bad to wait for Secret Wars, but still, that is kind of a long time for that movie, and there's said to be so much going down in Secret Wars. Feels like I'm always hearing about a different rumor and whatnot about who's gonna show up there. Still, it's not as bad as if you're like an Avatar fan, because they've updated the release dates for the Avatar movies. For one, Avatar 3 will now be releasing December 19th, 2025. Then you have Avatar 4 releasing December 21st, 2029, and Avatar 5 releasing December 19th, 2031. I cannot even imagine the year 2031, let alone that's when the Avatar franchise is gonna end. I don't even want to like think about how old I'm gonna be. That's what I used to do when I was like in my teens. I would go to these release dates and go, oh, okay, I'll be 16 when that comes out. I'll be 19. Now I'm at the age where I'm like, I don't want to know how old I'm going to be by then, all right? Let's just keep that to ourselves. For the Star Wars fans, you finally know when you're going to get your next live-action Star Wars movies back in theaters. They have it here that May 22nd, 2026 will be the first new live-action Star Wars movie. A lot of people thinking that's that new Rey Solo movie where Idris Elba is currently being rumored to be the villain of that movie. Then you have December 18, 2026 and December 17, 2027 for other Star Wars movies. No idea which ones those could be. So yeah, it is kind of crazy to think about all those release date changes and all these domino effects that happen and whatnot, but which ones are you most upset about? Which ones are you crazy about? And go ahead, just let me know how young you are by telling me how old you're going to be when Secret Wars or Avatar 5 comes out. Ending things off here with Tom Holland giving us the smallest update on Spider-Man 4. Because Tom Holland has an upcoming Apple TV show, he's doing the rounds of interviews, and of course he's going to get asked about Spider-Man. Being kind of vague on some of the details, he just says that there is some stuff going on. Whether or not it'll come to fruition, who knows? But right now, it's looking pretty good, and we'll just have to wait and see. The reason he's saying wait and see is because he is aware of the writer's strike, and it seemed like they were only like halfway through Spider-Man 4. They probably know the idea for the entire movie, but they still have to write it out in script form, and the writer's strike happened, and they had to put a pause on that. He was also asked about the possibility of bringing in Miles Morales into his universe, and he said here, it would be honored to bring Miles Morales into the live-action world. How we do that, I don't know, but given the opportunity, I would jump at it. Ending off here talking about his Spider-Man by saying, should we find a way to tell his story and do justice to Spider-Man, we will do so. But if we can't find a way to compete with that third one, Spider-Man No Way Home, he'll swing off into the sunset. That to me is an interesting statement right here. He really wants to compete with Spider-Man No Way Home. And I'll just tell you right now, I think that's going to be hard, man, having all three Spider people in that movie and then jumping on next. The thing that excited me about Spider-Man 4 is that it's finally going to be a street-level classic Spider-Man story. He's in New York, he's all alone, living by himself, struggling, no one around him, and he's just going to do what a good Spider person does. I don't think you need to compete with No Way Home and try to do something bigger or grander. I felt like that's kind of the stuff that was drawing me back from a Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. They went a little too big, a little too grand, where I'm like, like, Tom Holland Spider-Man, let's just have it be street level. But heck, I'm willing to be surprised because there's been rumors that there's going to be a live action Miles Morales introduced in here. Some people are saying that he lives already in the apartment building that Tom Holland Spider-Man moves into at the end of No Way Home. Oh, I can just see those scenes happening already. With the massive popularity Miles Morales has gotten over the years, I feel like that would be the thing to top it instead of all the other Spider people coming in. But I don't know. That's why I throw it off to you guys. How could they possibly compete with Spider-Man No Way Home in a street level Spider-Man movie? But that is all movie news we currently have going on right now, guys. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch me talk some movie news. Don't be forgetting to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.